Hi everyone, Comic Reviewer here. This time reviewing on the film Super 8. Now, Super 8 I remember watching in cinema with a kid when I started to live with my dad again after I moved away from my mum and her boyfriend. Most of the time we would see movies like Rise of Planet of the Apes and Real Steel. So I do remember watching Super 8 in cinema and I remember falling in love with it. And yeah, it's pretty much the original version of Stranger Things. Now, the premise of the film is meant to be about Joe Lamb, who, after him and his friend Charles, as well as their friends, end up filming a scene for a potential film festival, but when they see their teacher crashing into a a kind of train that was containing some sort of alien-like creature, they pretty much see firsthand what the military are after, as well as seeing the strange things that have been going on in their town, with power going out, people vanishing, also things being disappeared, and basically it's up to Joe and the others to try and put all the pieces together. Now, some of the characters, I would say, have certain traits. Joe is kind of, misses his mum and kind of slowly falls in love with Alice, who is the daughter of Lewis Daynard, who is the town's drunken deadbeat. Now, Alice, I would say, is kind of a bit more considerate. You can tell she does show a lot of concern for Joe. You've got Charles, who's this big film guy and wants to kind of film his film. You've got Charlie, who's kind of this guy who's obsessed with explosions. You've got Martin, who's kind of the panical stress nut. And Preston's just thrown in there for the sake of plot. And throughout it, we do see the police getting involved with the military, and you've basically got Joe's dad, Jackson, having to deal with so many things, like the grieving of his wife after her tragic death due to a work incident, which he understandably blames Lewis Daynard for. And it's heavily implied that Joe's mum actually did show a lot of concern for Lewis Daynard and wanted to try and be there for him. And I kind of feel, yeah, Lewis Daynard is the town's drunk for the sake of plot. And what's actually interesting is that the film does take place in 1979. So you see a lot of old references in stalls, like in Charles' bedroom. You've kind of got the posters for the original Halloween movie and some other ones. In Joe's bedroom, you do see a few Batman comics and a few other ones in a shelf. And I would say what the movie does feel like, when you've got the main villain, Colonel Neelick, he's just thrown in to be the evil military guy. I kind of feel you could have had a kind of other professor who was kind of like a counterpart to Dr. Thomas Woodrow, instead could have been more determined in using the alien to kind of as a weapon. Would have been a better idea, because I feel having evil Colonel Mastermind for the sake of it just seems a bit pointless. And I would say that, yeah, watching this in 2011 as a kid, it did seem there was a lot of good ideas, and there is. I like the idea that it takes place in a late 1970s setting, and it kind of gives you that closing door that the 70s will eventually end, and moving on to the 80s, when there was new possibilities, new films to explore, new stories to come and go. And I would say that I do feel J.J. Abrams was able to do a pretty good film. I think it's a shame, to me at least, that he can't really do Star Wars. There was a lot of opportunities he could have done, but I think if you've read the Dark Horse comics, they're actually kind of better. So I kind of feel, to me, Super 8 was definitely the original Stranger Things. It filmed its film, showed it well, and I think it deserves a thumbs up. still good, and still alright. So, Comic Reviewer here, signing out.